Welcome back to a series so epic, even Batman subscribed. In today's video, Hasan has decided to not attend TwitchCon because of safety concerns. Not for him, but other people apparently. Legal Mindset and Tectone have responded. Hasan is now panicking that the government is going to put him in prison for advocating political violence. He's now trying to fearmonger people into defending him by claiming that they will not just be arresting him, but also everybody who is anti-racist. He claims they're going to be arresting gay people, black people, brown people, and basically everyone. He's now implying that he does actually support terrorists, but it's technically not illegal. Not the greatest argument. He then justifies being a far-left extremist, saying that all he wants is healthcare. Another pathetic Hasan simp, this time not Taylor Lorenz, is claiming that the Charlie Kirk shooter is definitely MAGA. She's also claiming the ICE shooter is a false flag, saying that the FBI is forging evidence like the anti-ICE bullet. A clip of Hasan has resurfaced of him being a massive misogynist and losing his mind when a woman calls him out for it. Subscribe or you gotta donate all your money to Hasan Diddy Piker. Peanut butter and jelly wig.
Let's up those numbers!
Now let's begin with Hasan worried about TwitchCon. He's having safety concerns after literally advocating violence all these years repeatedly, and pretty much being the reason for the safety problem.
I miss the social Hasan era. There is unfortunately an obvious setback there because of, one, all the political incidents that have taken place, and two, how those political incidents have had some pretty significant consequences in how much I can go out in the real world and socialize with other people. As I said already, I'm not going to TwitchCon, not because I'm worried about my own safety, but I'm literally not going to TwitchCon because I'm worried about the safety of others. I don't want to put them in the fucking crosshairs if some psycho freak decides, like, I'm going to go there. I'm very publicly not going to TwitchCon for that reason. So make with that information, do with that information what you will.
Wow, Hasan, you're just so empathetic and just caring of other people. How can you not like Hasan? You see, the reason he's not going to TwitchCon is not because he's afraid himself after his debate opponent Charlie Kirk got shot and killed in broad daylight because of his type of rhetoric advocating political violence. Actually, the reason is because he wants to keep other people safe. You know, when he says stuff like this,
if you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott.
Yeah, kill them. Kill those motherfuckers and murder those motherfuckers in the street. Let the streets soak in their fucking red capitalist bloods, dude.
Yeah, so we're supposed to believe this guy is an altruistic deity who just cares so much about other people, and that's why he's not going, because he's just so kind, so empathetic. He's sacrificing his TwitchCon clout for other people, guys. What a hero. Actual weasel, dude. Oh my god. It's a Gundam says from let the streets run red with their blood to I fear for my safety. No, it's not his safety. He's fearing for other people because he's just so empathetic. He's got that I-dubs in him. He turned 35 and he got the empathy. Imagine calling for violence nonstop and then crying about safety. Odd. Hasan, I've made Twitch so unsafe that I can't even partake in TwitchCon. Tectone responds, Hasan, you're the one who's causing these consequences the most out of any streamer on the platform. Now you're too afraid to show face? After saying everyone was overreacting, what a lying, pussy, bitch-made man. Honestly, this guy can't stand by a single thing he actually says. I mean, he even said that he was so unafraid he would even go to Gaza, even if it's dangerous, and then never did that. It just completely backtracked on that as well, which just shows what kind of a person he actually is.
Dude, I might actually take Marsh with me to Gaza.
Gaza?
Yeah.
Is it dangerous?
Yeah.
Yes. I unfortunately most likely will not be able to go.
Legal Mindset responds, once again, Hasan contributes to the problem and takes zero accountability for the consequences. Stunning and brave as usual. The real reason is because he's afraid of this happening again. People keep asking Hasan about Sam Hyde. Hasan's getting pissed as frick. Surprising, considering one would think that Dan Clancy would give him a private army for personal security. Not only that, he would surround him by all of his gooning rags, creating this artificial barrier of utter glazing, right? All of that dried up words I can't say forms like a bulletproof barrier, you know, all around Hasan, obviously. And Dan Clancy himself would probably take a bullet for the guy, let's be honest. Tectone continues, Hasan and people like Hasan have been pushing violent rhetoric and supporting terrorists for years. He knows the dangers he has caused for others. He's now too afraid to face the very beast he's created. He knows if he live streams there, he'll broadcast his own audience that will be there, exposing the exact type of viewers he's creating, exposing the exact type of dangers he'd be bringing with him. This is not a noble act. This man's a coward. This man's delusional. And Twitch is a pathetic platform allowing this type of violent rhetoric to go unpunished for years, nearly a decade. Pathetic. Yeah, basically Hasan has been the unpunished cockroach just crawling in your house the entire time, and no matter what you do, this guy just does not go away. He just multiplies, it seems. And you really need to bring in the expert pest control to deal with this guy. He continues, cancel your TwitchCon plans, save your money, it's boring as frick every year, and this year has the lowest attendance record for streamers going there. Thanks to many extreme political advocates like Hasan Piker, it's now more unsafe than ever to attend. It's not worth the risk. If you already have flights to San Diego, go to the zoo, chill at an arcade, go fishing, ride a boat, or explore the caves down there. It's not worth the money or the risk. Please stay safe, everybody. Honestly, good advice here. I would not recommend going TwitchCon. Do not support them in any capacity. And also, I would not qualify that as safe. No matter what they tell you, I know Dan Clancy was going on that PR tour. Well, we'll make it safe for everybody. You cannot trust that fucking dinosaur, please. Moving on to Hasan, panicking that the government is finally waking up to the extreme radical lefty lunatics such as himself and finally going after him.
NSPM7 says that the JTTFs shall investigate potential federal crimes relating to acts of recruiting or radicalizing persons for the purpose of political violence, terrorism, or conspiracy against rights, and the violent deprivation of any citizen's rights. These last two parts here are also intentionally vague to be as broad and as over-encompassing as possible. Okay? Because some of this stuff, like radicalizing people for the purpose of political violence, directly intervenes with the First Amendment, because you can say that about anyone, right? You can say that about anyone and everyone. You're cooked, no. I mean, yeah, this is basically written as a way to apprehend and single me out as like a domestic terrorist, but it's written in such a way that it also extends to literally David Pakman even, you know what I mean? It's written as a way that this could mean anyone from people like myself.
Oh no, Hasan, no, that would be so bad if they actually singled you out and actually put you in prison. That would be such a tragedy. I'm sure we would all be crying about that. Dude, no wonder Hasan is nonstop bitching about this stuff, and he's saying stuff like, oh, the government is going after your free speech. He basically wants everybody to believe that it's like this fascist Nazi regime already, so that basically they will come out and defend him and prevent him from actually being put in prison. But it's very clear what they said there, even from what he read out, the cherry-picked part that he read out, radicalizing persons for the purpose of political violence. That is pretty clear who it is singling out. That is not the average American. That is not the random person that talks about politics or whatever. That is directed straight at people like Hasan Piker. That is actually describing him to an absolute T. And the thing is, it is actually starting to get very real for Hasan, and he's actually getting very terrified. Now, I can't wait until he faces some actual consequences through the proper legal channels, of course. I don't support terrorism or vigilantes or whatever he does, obviously. But honestly, just look how he twists the truth there. Who reads that statement and goes, well, this is an infringement on free speech? The thing that he seems to miss is that direct incitements to violence were actually never protected under free speech, and these people still keep crying about the literal one exception to that rule. Anyways, then he just completely makes some shit up. I mean, I had to double check if he was actually responding to something else here, but no, he legitimately was responding to that same thing, but he just pulled this out of his ass.
It's written as a way that this could mean anyone from people like myself all the way to like the Podjons. It's not just people like myself. It's not like Jason and Ruhe or whatever. It straight up implies, the way this is written, it straight up implies that if you're like a part of the Satan Church, for example, and you know, you're doing like a fundraiser or a back to school drive or something, you are potentially liable here. You can be prosecuted. You can be investigated.
What? What is this guy even on about? Like, Hasan, why would they ever investigate someone doing a back-to-school drive or a fundraiser? I mean, if he's talking about a fundraiser where you're raising money for a Houthi terrorist, then yeah, you might be investigated for that, obviously. But other than that, I mean, what even was the relevance? Where did he pull that out of his ass? This guy is such a blatant fucking liar. It is ridiculous. Honestly, every day I'm actually shocked. Like, I always think he just can't get worse. I mean, there's so many instances of him, you know, lying, misrepresenting situations, and he just every day he creates a new bigger lie than the previous one, and it's just unrelenting misinformation, twisting the truth. No wonder Hasan fans are completely nuts. Imagine this guy is your only source of information. You're cooked, bro. Your brain is filled with actual worms. There's parasites in there. They're laying eggs. All right, spiders come in there and go, no, we can't lay eggs in this motherflipper. There's too much real estate taken up here. Then he says they're going after everybody and they're basically going to arrest anyone who is anti-racist. Why would they do that?
Every single person that has ever conveyed any sort of like anti-racist statement is liable for an investigation or a prosecution.
Dude, what am I watching? I mean, how are you actually allowed to do this? I'm actually shocked. Look at what he read and look at his actual interpretation of that. I mean, these people just do not live in reality at all. I mean, how did this become, oh, they're going to arrest anyone who is anti-racist? Why would anybody be doing that? Going after violent extremist freaks who shoot and assassinate people and cause actual violence in the streets, or people like you who are spreading that sort of rhetoric, justifying violence, promoting terrorism, direct calls to violence. Rick Scott, murder these motherflippers, actual calls to violence. You know, going after those people is perfectly justified. That is not an infringement on free speech or anything like that. But then Hasan wants you to think that they're just arresting the anti-racism squad, which he, for some reason, considers himself like a massive part of, which is like, don't ask Hasan his opinion on Jews, though. That's off limit, guys. I'm always anti-racist, but don't talk about Jews. And then he continues his absolute fear-mongering. He says that they're going to arrest all gay people, black people, brown people. They're gonna label them as like extremists or whatever. Ultimate fantasy land.
There's a gender indication there that means that if you're gay or trans, again, you could be pegged as an extremist. If you're black or brown and you have exhibited anti-racist tendencies, or if you have participated in any sort of like anti-white supremacist action.
I mean, you really gotta hand it to him. This is like a insane strategy. Basically gaslight your entire audience into thinking that they're going to arrest you if you are black or brown or gay. I mean, I'm honestly shocked that even people in Hasan chat, like, I knew they were stupid. I knew they had like, you know, 2-digit IQ, maybe even lesser. But this is like, you have to be in the negatives to actually fall for this. You must have some aversion to the truth. You must be allergic to the truth, like a fucking vampire allergic to sunlight. You must see the truth and be like, no, anything but that. Okay? Like, because how else would you actually fall for this? In fact, I'm actually curious. Let's just check out what his chat is saying. Here we are in his chat. So we're all going to jail, I guess. I don't even know if this is memeing or actually believing him. So they legitimately think everybody in Hasan's chat is also going to jail. I mean, just gonna be honest, it really depends on what you're doing in your free time when you're not watching Hasan, I guess. Because if you're in Hasan's chat and you're out there, you know, part of Antifa, or you're engaging in some sort of terrorism or violence, then yeah, you're probably going to jail and you should probably be scared as well. I honestly can't imagine what a Hasan viewer actually does when they're not watching the stream. I mean, they're obviously broke, unemployed, and completely fucking like basement dwelling losers. That's like a given, obviously. And then they might turn into some extreme person who commits crimes or whatever. You know, I've never actually congratulated Hasan for this, because he might actually be doing a service. Because at least these psychopathic nut jobs, at least for 10 hours in the day, they're just watching Hasan. That is 10 hours where they are not participating in society and causing problems for society. So, you know, in a sense, in a weird, twisted sense, thank you, Hasan. You're truly helping out the people here by gathering all the crazies and, you know, keeping them at bay for 10 hours at least. But I don't know, he does sort of radicalize them even more into committing violence, so, you know. Anyways, then he continues crying about free speech.
The real problem is this. Since Charlie Kirk was murdered, a friend of mine assassinated, nothing changed on their side. White House counterterrorism czar Sebastian Gorka told Newsmax after NSPM 7 was signed. Not one leader, not one leftist thought leader, member of Congress, senator, nobody has said we distance ourselves from the violent rhetoric. The left refuses to rid themselves of the justification for violence, Gorka continued. And as such, President Trump is taking measures to protect us from the violent rhetoric that becomes snipers and bullets. It's not violence that they are combating, it's rhetoric. It's not violence that they're combating, it's rhetoric.
Hasan be like, this is totally fascism. They're going after rhetoric, guys. They're not just going after violence. They're going after rhetoric, my speech. What is his rhetoric? K-Rick Scott. Murder these mother flippers. Let the streets soak in their red capitalist blood. Yeah, they have to go after that rhetoric too, Hasan. Because what immediately follows that sort of rhetoric is actual violence, all right? And that's what they're doing. They're not waiting for you to shoot people anymore because it's gone too far. They have to go one step back. They gotta look at what is actually leading to this. They gotta analyze, do some predictive analysis here and be like, okay, if this person is tweeting every single day saying they are going to go to this person and K them, and they are on TikTok and they're posting that they are going to murder Charlie's entire family, his wife and kids as well, then they can't wait for that person to go and do that and only prosecute them after. They actually have to look at their speech beforehand and actually act based on that, put them on some sort of a watch list or something like that. And this is normal. This is not like an infringement. This isn't like the government overreaching. This is normal. If you say you're going to, blow up a government building or something, if you tweet that regularly, you will get a knock on the door by the FBI, or you might even get arrested for it, okay? That's not allowed because that's a direct threat. But of course, Hasan is doing what he does best, taking advantage of a situation and trying to make it so that, the government is coming after anybody who's even trying to speak against them or whatever. Like, no, dude. And I think we all know the reason why Hasan is actually mad. It's because every single day, he's getting one step closer, inching towards the cockroach-infested cell with his buddy Destiny. All right? Oh my God, it is going to be cinema. It is going to be absolute cinema when those two absolute losers finally get what they deserve. All right? And the world will finally start healing when this dipshit stops his violent terrorist glazing propaganda. How is this guy like a mainstream figure? How is this guy accepted in the media? How does he even have an audience? It's legitimately baffling that this amount of people are crazy, dude. Moving on to Hasan, basically implying that he does support terrorists, but then he says that it's okay because it's not illegal.
It is not illegal in the United States of America to even say you support known designated terror organizations, foreign terror organizations. You can say you support it. It is, up until this moment, not been illegal.
Oh my God, dude. Only Hasan would ever debate this. Basically, normal people go, no guys, I don't support terrorists. That's not me. You're lying about me. Hasan goes, well guys, I actually do support terrorists, but it's not illegal. It's not illegal, technically. Dude, we're actually at that stage where this Hasan Piker here is arguing semantics of glazing terrorists, bro. You can't be serious. I mean, this guy's not real. Like, that's basically like saying, hey guys, I'm actually a PDF file, but it's not illegal. Technically, well, why yes, I do like kids. But in my specific state, in my specific country, actually, it's not illegal, guys. It's not illegal. And this is when you know that you've just completely lost the argument. When you're at the point where you're not even trying to counteract it, you're just like, well, it's actually not illegal, guys. You can't put me in prison for this, guys. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to comment on the legal aspects of this. You can leave that to the actual lawyers or whatever, attorneys. Maybe Legal Miso will make a video about it or something like that. But yeah, buddy, don't worry. There's plenty of charges to go around. Don't worry. You will be transforming into a cockroach and crawling into your cell. Then this next part, he justifies being a far left extremist.
The obvious question, is there a difference between far left extremism and far right extremism? And the answer, of course, is yes. Now, I'm biased. I'm obviously biased. But think for a brief moment. We are billed as far left extremists. And as far left extremists, we believe that everyone should have health care.
Oh wow, you just nailed it, Hasan. You totally got the core of the argument. So that is why people call Hasan a far left extremist, because he wants healthcare, guys. That's the reason why everybody hates Hasan, because he's anti-racist, because he wants healthcare, because he's just the greatest person himself. He's probably God himself reincarnated, obviously. It's definitely not the fact that he supports multiple terrorist groups or advocates violence against his political enemies. That's not the reason people call him a far left extremist. It's because he wants healthcare, guys. Obviously. Once again, presenting a completely false argument and then debunking that is just meaningless. It's just meaningless. You're just not even addressing the actual claims. I mean, you basically implied, hey, I do support terrorists, but it's not illegal, guys. I mean, very weak defense, obviously. You know, this is one of the reasons I really like Hasan. It's because he's just so good faith, you know? Anytime you're ever having like an argument or a debate with him, he will always address the crux of your issue. In fact, he will take it upon himself to present the best version of his opponent's arguments and then counteract it. It's truly like a testament to his honesty and integrity. Just kidding, he's a lying bitch. I mean, if that wasn't fucking obvious. Oh my god, dude, what the hell? This guy's crazy. Anyways, the doomsday segment continues. He's now saying that all liberals need to be afraid. Dude, this guy constantly, like at any opportunity, he shits on liberals, right? And then he desperately asks for their support the day later. I swear it's like alternate days. One day he's like, liberals are the worst. This is the reason we lost against Trump. Next day, oh my god, guys, they're trying to put me in prison. Liberals, please help me. Like, buddy.
I don't think liberals are even remotely aware of what this is. Or at most, they think that it's just about, you know, radical leftists or something. You know, people that they also don't really like, people that they see as like spoilers to Kamala Harris, even people like myself. This is a way to utilize all of the intelligence community's powers to actively target and prosecute, investigate, and potentially apprehend anyone and everyone that has exhibited a anti-racist thought, declaring them enemies of the state.
Okay, Hasan, did you take your meds today? Is it like you really expect me to believe that the government is going around arresting anybody who was anti-racist? So you're telling me if you go on Twitter and you tweet, I am anti-racist, you're getting arrested the next day, you're getting a knock on your door? I mean, like, at least make the bullshit believable, you know? At least make that actually believable. This is so far-fetched, all right? It's actually a surfetched, all right? It's the evolution of far-fetched. Nobody is actually believing this, dude. I mean, I know there's like a couple of Hasan fans who watch every video. They're usually like hate watching whatever, or trying to, you know, justify, defend their king or whatever. First off, if you're a Hasan fan, you should be very embarrassed. Second off, let me know, like, even you, do you actually believe this level of bullshit? I mean, come on. Like, I'm really trying to sort of reason with them, pretend they're like actually, you know, sane, rational thinkers here, because come on, like, if a Hasan fan is commenting in the comments, please upvote them. I really want to see, like, do they actually believe this shit?
It's more so about building a narrative. So I think what they're doing, just like McCarthyism, just like post 9/11 Islamophobia, what they are trying to create here is an intelligence community backed effort to create a narrative of left-wing terror. So what they're going to be going after here is goading people into Fed posting, as we like to call it, and then trying to apprehend people for engaging in acts of Fed posting to create a narrative, or maybe even let a couple of these incidents go, coerce people, intimidate people into taking action, and then letting a couple of them go, and then say, you see, this is a real violent and dangerous endeavor. We must react.
Right, so he actually yaps a shit ton in this stream segment, and he basically implies that they're going to plant a ton of false flags, and they're going to make you think that radical leftists are the real problem. And any time an act of violence is actually committed, he will be first on the horse to say that, hey, yeah, this is a false flag. The FBI is definitely writing on the bullets. They're forging the notes. They're forging his fucking social media profile to make you think he's like this communist or whatever. So they will basically deny any sort of evidence. And he's basically basically priming his audience to automatically discredit any future violence, right? And I really don't know why he's crying about this this government action or whatever, because they're obviously taking extra measures after the assassination. I feel like he's obviously just mad that he is one of the people who needs to be concerned about actually getting some repercussions here, right? Getting prosecuted for inciting violence. And that's why he's trying to paint this doomsday picture.
Earlier designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist group was accompanied by a White House fact sheet singling out people who celebrated Luigi Mangione, the alleged killer of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, last December. As I wrote at the time, this describes a lot of Americans. This is not a political singling out of radical potential terrorism or something, okay? This is straightforwardly prosecuting whoever they want to prosecute. Like, this is trying to create an environment where there is just cause to go after whoever the they want.
I mean, of course, they are investigating people who celebrate terrorism and celebrate assassinations. If you're one of those psychopaths on TikTok and you call for more murders and shit like that, you're obviously going to be getting a call from the feds. And you can try to paint it as whatever. I don't think anybody's buying it here. I feel like most people can see the truth. He really just seems like a fish out of water. He seems like a fucking flopping ass Magikarp. Terrified, just terrified that he's actually going to face some consequences for the first time in his goddamn life. And every single day he's crying about something else. And yeah, you can cry all you want, but if they actually end up investigating and they find that you broke some laws, you will be going to prison. But we'll see if they actually have the balls to do that, because it's been years and this guy's been allowed to get away with a lot of stuff. But the heat has definitely been turned up, so we'll see. Moving on to another pathetic Hasan simp, this woman, and no, that is not Taylor Lorenz. It is one of her spiritual sisters here. Apparently, Hasan just has several old women just thirsting after him, right? And here they are discussing how the Charlie Kirk shooter is definitely MAGA.
Right, because that's kind of the rabbit hole that I went down with it.
Yeah.
That this guy's MAGA, steeped in gun culture. And then the fact that if he had a trans boyfriend, to me, that makes it, or girlfriend, that makes it even more that he's MAGA. Like he had this secret life.
Groypers do have like that dual life, I guess. But I don't even think that there was enough evidence that he was a Groyper. But what I do know is that clearly, up until this moment, there's not enough evidence to pin him back to the radical left, because I feel like they would have been parading that around 100%. By now. Like
here's the thing. I don't trust anything coming out of that FBI. Anything. I don't trust, like when I saw the bullet the other day that said anti-ICE, I'm just, in my mind, I envisioned Kash Patel writing that on there and then taking a photograph of it.
Right, so you just admitted you see the evidence and you decide to ignore it. You pretend it's a false flag no matter what happens, no matter the reality, you pretend it's a false flag and run with whatever narrative you want. So when it's actually like a MAGA person or whatever, you get to chastise them. And then when it's somebody on the other side, then it's like, oh, it's a false flag. And yeah, you just default to whatever narrative. Like, this is a level of brainwashing I cannot believe. Also, I can't get over this. The guy who killed the #1 MAGA recruiter is apparently MAGA. That's gonna be the worst fucking MAGA in the entire planet. Really helping his cause right there. Also, I must reiterate, furry enjoyer, notices bulge ooh-woo, trans partner, I want to protect you, my love, he said to his trans partner. Kill Charlie because he thought he was transphobic. Anti-fascist slogan on his bullets. But apparently the guy's MAGA. I mean, what do you even do? I genuinely do not know. You have to completely turn off your brain, because this is when you are so radically extreme, you refuse to objectively look at reality. And regular people see this and go, okay, these people are just not honest at all. Like, if you actually told me these people would pretend a guy with a trans partner is MAGA, I would literally never believe you. Like, I would be like, okay, there's just no way that would ever happen, because everybody would see that as a completely ridiculous belief. But that's where we're at. It's a level of delusion so far that it's actually above reality in their mind, which is shocking. That is a shocking point. I don't know if you can ever come back from that. Now, just to show you how much they actually hate liberals, the people who are supposed to be on their side, but they're so extreme that they hate liberals as well. Apparently one of their liberal friends praised Charlie just a little bit. Like, he mentioned one positive thing about him, the fact that he goes out and does open debates, and then they started losing their minds.
But the Charlie Kirk thing, is just the biggest capitulation.
He's doing politics the right way. I couldn't believe it.
It was just such
on
a
the
face
New York
plant.
Times. On the New York Times, you're like the most prominent liberal author in the country right now. Like, he is the champion of liberals. And he goes on the Gray Lady, the paper of record, and writes about Charlie Kirk in that way. I could not believe it.
It was revisionist history. It was such a face plant. I couldn't believe it either. I thought, could you not have slept on that a couple of nights?
By the way, just some context. All this guy said is that it is admirable that Charlie Kirk would actually talk to the other side, right? You know, go out and talk to people who disagree with him, actually have dialogue instead of resorting to violence, right? Ironic considering what happened to him. And even admitting that, which is factual, is impossible for these people. So you cannot say a single positive thing about the other side or they will hate you, right? That's the level of radicalism here. Now, even if you disagree with someone, you should be able to recognize some of their good qualities or something, at least one thing. After a guy fucking died, maybe one positive thing. Okay, maybe even that's too much. Even if you hated the guy, sure, whatever. But do you really need to disavow your liberal friends just because of that? According to him, the most prominent liberal author in the country, right? The champion of the liberals, and they don't like this guy anymore. Even though he just said the actual truth. Heaven forbid your liberal friend says one positive thing about a man who just died. Unacceptable, guys. Even like, I'm pretty sure even like Hasan's uncle said like one positive thing. Like, it's just unbelievable. Moving on to Hasan being a degenerate. A clip has surfaced of him melting down after a woman calls him out. Throwback, Hasan has a meltdown on his gay co-host at Pop Trigger when she suggested he has paid some women for frick. I can get pee for free, mother flipper, and says, don't make me go alt-right on your ass right now.
I just need to clarify this because I did not know this was your dating philosophy. I find this amusing. You have to have already had sex with a girl.
Not all the time, but most of the time.
You would prefer to have already had sex with a girl before you take her out on a date.
For sure.
Because you want to know that you will definitely, that if you're spending money on her, that she will definitely be sleeping with you.
No, come on. Why are you fucking... No,
look, it
don't
sounded
be a dick, Grace. God
Hasan,
damn it.
Hasan,
No, it's not that at all.
It sounded a lot like that.
No,
it sounded a lot like that.
No, I can get pussy for free, motherfucker. Do you want me to say that on camera here?
You just did.
No, that's not it at all.
Explain.
Dating is something that's more personal and more serious than not just sex, but just like meeting someone. Like, if I'm going to spend time with them out of my busy schedule, I would like to know that person and see if I'm compatible with them or not. Otherwise, I feel like it's prostitution and I'm just paying for their time.
But what if you have had sex with someone and then you're like, well, the sex was really nice, and then you hang out with them and you're like, but the personality sucks. But you've already spent
that
time.
happens. That's like my secondary form of
I'm just
figuring out if a person and I are compatible.
I don't want you to
figure
get
out
to-
if we're compatible sexually, if we have sexual chemistry, and then I figure out, sometimes before, sometimes after. Obviously, it's not an exact science, Grace. Human interaction is complicated.
Hey, I'm your friend.
I know, you just put words in my mouth. That's why I'm being so defensive.
I was saying, is this what you're saying? And you said, no! And that's,
no,
I
you
was
didn't
just
say
asking.
It. No, you said it sounds a lot like that's what you're saying.
And then
you
I
know
said,
what you were doing.
And
it
I said,
matter.
would you clarify?
Yeah.
And then I listened to you.
Okay.
And I didn't
Don't make
speak
me get
over
all
you.
alt-right on your ass right now. No, seriously though.
Wow, shocking information, guys. The guy who got his start cosplaying Andrew Tate doing bro tips is actually a misogynist guy. I could have never have seen this coming. So apparently Hasan thinks of women as objects here, thinks that sleeping with someone is less intimate than going on a date. Not surprised. I mean, look what it got him. He's fucking 35, unmarried, about to be arrested, and still a perpetual loser. Also, Hasan has literally admitted in the past that he went to a brothel in Germany to pay for frick, right? And also that place was like raided for a bunch of shit. Basically, complete degen freak. He also has his fans send him nudes on his Snapchat. Obviously can't even confirm the age of that, and he encourages that shit. Then he shows it to his friends. Just complete disgusting misogynist all around. I mean, I don't know why anybody is actually surprised on this. This is another one to add to the collection of degen Hasan clips, right? This guy has not matured in the entire decade since the videos posted. He's the same person today and is 100% sexually obsessed with himself, being perceived as a womanizer out of insecurity. Can you imagine how he acts off screen if this is how he treats people on camera? Someone who's allegedly his friend. Now click this video for a free copy of Pokemon Emerald, one of my favorite games. Goated game, guys. Check it out. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.